Hey guys, and welcome to Faith Works Designs. I'm Faith, and today we are doing a really special project. So I got this pattern from Enchanted Fabrics. Enchanted Fabrics is a UK-based company, and if you've ever tried to order any fabrics from the UK, shipping is kind of ridiculous. So K&A Custom Fabrics and Enchanted Fabrics have a thing called a swap shop. And if you want to hear more about that and save on shipping, make sure that you watch to the end of the video, and I'll explain kind of how everything works for you guys. That way you can try and do it yourself. In this video today, I wanted to show you how we put together our cute little dragon. She's so cute. Oh my goodness. So cute. So I got the original pattern from Enchanted, and then I looked up the artist that actually did the panels, and I emailed them and asked them, can I do a tutorial for you guys? And they said, yes, absolutely. I wanted to do a shout out to them. It is Sew Desu Ne. I'm going to butcher that up. So I'm going to put the name. I will also link them down below. They gave me permission to do the video, and I'm so glad they did because it was so much fun. This is a really quick sew. If I hadn't been moving the camera around so much, I probably would have done it in a couple of hours. You are going to do just a little bit of hand sewing with this one because we got to put the ears on. I did the back of the neck just a little bit different than the original instructions, which by the way are downloadable for free. You can just go on their site and be able to download them. Also, when I'm making this project, I want to go ahead and now that it's done and I heard feedback, I used an 1.25 inch, I believe, zipper. You really want to make sure that you just use an inch zipper, like your regular everyday zippers. I used the 1.25 inch, and it gave me extra fabric, like my front of my head and the back of my head didn't meet up. So make sure that you use a smaller zipper. I believe that's what I did wrong. I asked them what I possibly could have done that wouldn't have made it match up, and that's what they suggested, was to make sure that I use the right size zipper. So keep that in mind. You can't just use the zippers you've got laying around for your purse. Let's get started. Alright, so as you probably watched me, I cut all these pieces up into smaller pieces so that it was a little bit easier for me to be able to kind of maneuver everything. I didn't cut out all of the individual pieces because they have what they are. Some of them have directions on them, so I don't want to lose all that information. So I'm just going to cut out the pieces when it's time to do it and all that jazz. So went ahead and cut out two. They were on the bottom of the panel, and if you'll notice that they are all mirrored, you're going to need to cut out one row at a time for each one. So I cut out the bottom one, and I'm just going to put them right sides together. I have got my domestic right here. We're going to use her today. The seam allowances for all of these in the instructions say 1/4 inch. So I just want to put it out there if I forget to tell you guys. It's 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let me get the camera moved and then we'll get started. Alright, so I've got my pieces. I'm going to be using 1/4 inch seam allowance. Before you try and turn this inside out, you're going to need to do one thing. Right where your stitches are kind of meeting up at a point, you're going to need to make a cut, not on your stitches. You don't want to cut your stitches, okay? You just want to cut in front of your stitches so that this will turn a little bit better. And you've got to do it at both of those places. So just make sure you don't snip your thread. Alright, so I went a little notch crazy on the corners right there. You're going to want to cut those out. I just want this to turn inside out nicely. So I made a couple of notches around the round parts, and then on the top I just kind of made notches on the edges. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it inside out. I was thinking about taking it to the ironing board and kind of pressing it, and I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think it's all that I don't think you need to do all of that, and I could be wrong. We'll find out in a little bit. I'm going to get my little tool. I'm going to get my non-pointy scissors. It's got a rounded top, so I can take them to turn things if I need to. I don't think you top stitch this. I'm going to check real quick before we do it. I think it's just left. It's supposed to be left to like free float. When you cut out the left side, I cut out the left side first. When I cut that out, I noticed there's like a little gray piece right here. That's going to be inside of your seam allowance. You won't see that, but that is so that you know exactly where to place this. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I am going to base stitch this in place just so that when I'm adding the other side on and stuff, it doesn't give me a fit. So I'm going to go do that real quick. Alright, so I went and I double checked the directions and everything, so I'm doing it right. Alright, you are supposed to base stitch. Base stitching is just using an extended stitch to be able to, like 1/8 of an inch, keep this attached to your face so that you don't have to worry about trying to keep it pinned while you're trying to do something else. Now, I went ahead and I cut out the right side of my face. The next thing that you're going to do, hopefully when you're cutting these out, you see these little notches right here? You're going to want to make sure you cut those out. Those are going to help us match up our face on this side. Well, go ahead. I should have got some clips, like the good strong clips. You're going to put the right side to right side, and we're going to be sewing down where we have our little spike. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So I'm going to finish pinning this up, and then we'll go back to the sewing machine and do this part. Alright, so we're going to sew what we pinned together, clip together, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now I'm going to move the camera so you guys can actually see what I just did. Alright, so we sewed down the right side because we had right side facing right side, and it already it looks so cute. Oh my goodness. Alright, so there's her little face. She's so cute. Alright, now the next step is to grab 4 more of your spikes, okay? I'm going to go ahead and cut these out off camera because it takes a minute, but I went ahead and I had all 3 of the spikes like this, and then I just cut them in rows. That way I make sure that I get the one that's opposite the spikes that I need, because you don't want to get them mixed up because then you get frustrated. So I'm going to cut these off camera, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to sew these. Alright, so I've got all of them cut out. I have put right side to right side, and we're just going to do just like we did with the last spike. We're going to do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Alright, so just like last time, go ahead and clip all of your notches and turn them right side out. Alright, so I have got both of my spikes cut out, turned inside out, ready to roll. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my face, and on the right side there's another little gray spot. That's for your placement of your spike. And then, let's see, yeah, that'll be right. Alright, so then we're going to put the spike just like this, right on that gray line, and we're going to base stitch this in place just like we did the other one, just so that it's not moving around. That's in the instructions as well. It's a really good idea. Alright, while we're over here, I'm going to go ahead and get my left. Your spikes should kind of be like facing down when you're putting them on, and I don't know how to explain that other than, yeah, they should kind of be pointing down. They look kind of weird being pointed up. But yeah, alright, so I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm going to base these down, and then I will show you guys what to do next. Alright, we have the faces all done. We've got our side points all on, our scales all on. We're going to set her aside, even though I hate to because she's so cute. We're going to set her aside. I went and got my arms, and what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to match up one of the green with the dots with one of the whites. So we're going to put them right sides together. They should fit well together, one side together. And then the other one should go together. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew from here down and around and then back up. We're going to be leaving this slanted part open. This is how you connect your arms to your body. So let me go sew that real quick. Alright, so we're going to start on this side, making sure we're using 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so we've got it all sewn up and we've got this open so that we can turn it inside out. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of cuts. On the end of the spikes, you're just going to make a snip on all the ends of the spikes. Then, right where you make your little turn there, right where the spikes are, just like we did with the spikes, you're going to need to make a little clip so that this will turn inside out a lot easier. Do that with both of them, and then we're going to turn them inside out. Make sure to not cut your thread. And she does tell you to go ahead and stuff these and then base stitch this paw closed once you stuff them. So that's what I'm going to do. And I got to finish getting all of the little claws as out as I can get them. That's so cute. Alright, let me turn the other one inside out. I'll grab some stuffing and then we'll do the next step. Alright, so we're ready to stuff. So I have got my little tool. You normally get stuff like this when you buy like a big thing of stuffing. And so I had this for something else, like a turning tool. Multiple uses. So I'm going to take just a little bit and put it in there, and then I'm going to make sure that the fingers or the little claws get a little bit of this. Kind of want to make sure that those are stuffed first before you just go cramming a bunch of stuff in there. So once you get the little claws stuffed, you can put the rest of your stuffing in. Then you're going to take it to your sewing machine, and you're only going to stuff it so much because you want to be able to close this up. And so you want to make sure that you leave yourself enough space to kind of hold it closed. Then you're going to take it and you're going to base stitch it with your machine. So just kind of squish it as much as you can, base stitch it closed, and then make sure that both arms kind of match, and make sure that it looks like they didn't just do a left day, but they did a right day too. Just kind of get them as even as you can. Then we're going to grab the stomach piece. And so let me finish this, and then I'll grab the stomach piece and we'll attach them. Alright, so we got their little arms done, and it looks like they did both of their arms on arm day. So we're going to grab the little tummy piece. You're going to make sure that we follow these dotted lines all the way around, and make sure you have these little notches, because those are going to come important later on. Alright, on the top upper part of the little belly, you've got the gray again, so you know where to put your pieces. Alright, so in order to place these, you need to have the little spots facing you when it lays down, so that when it flips out, you can see the little spots on its arms. So I'm going to do one at a time, base stitch them in place. And I've just matched up the gray with the arm. And so what I did was I just matched them up, just like that, so I know where to put my little arms. Now I'm going to grab the body side pieces. I'm going to cut those out really quick, and then we're going to add them to his little tummy. Alright, so we got his little arms, or her little tummy, his or her little tummy. I've got my side pieces out, and you should lay them out just like this. You got your notches facing each other. We're going to put right side to right side, so I'm going to grab the left side first. It's going to have this little rounded edge right there. We're going to put right side to right side, and then I'm going to take this and sew it, and then I'm going to do the other side as well. I'm just making sure that everything is matching up, and I know it's going to be kind of hard with that arm in there, but we can do it. Okay, so we have the left on. Let's do the same thing for the right. Alright, sorry, my camera died on me because the battery was out, but I went ahead and I sewed down both sides. So she's got both her little sides to her little belly, and it is already looking so cute. Alright, now we're going to work on her legs real quick. So I went and grabbed the legs. The legs are the ones with the little blue dots. They will be labeled on your panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to put right sides together, just like we did with her front paws. Or I guess, was it labeled hands? I can't remember now. But this little swoopy bit we're going to leave open. We're just going to be sewing around the other parts. So again, a quarter of an inch seam allowance. Alright, so I cut you off because I have been sewing around these twice. I just want to make sure that they're sewn well, because it is a stuffed animal. It is going to be loved on a lot, so I don't want it coming unsewn, and I don't trust my sewing machine, and I'm not completely convinced of this fabric either. So I sewed it twice. Again, right where the little claws or paws are coming together in a V, you want to make sure that you snip that so it'll turn over nicely. At the end of the little claws and stuff, you want to go ahead and make a little snip so that, again, they turn inside out like they're supposed to. And then we're going to stuff these, and we're going to base stitch them closed with the stuffing on the inside, just like we did the little hands or paws on the top. Alright, so we got her little tummy done, we got her little legs done. She's been arm day and leg day. Alright, so if you're looking at your little back legs, when they're put together, they should make kind of like a U, like that. Not like this, but like that. That's how they're going to get put on. So I'm going to do one at a time on and at the sewing machine just to make it a little bit easier. This is going to be hard to kind of like clip together. So I'm just going to sew them as I go. So I'm going to grab my right leg first to the right side of her little tummy, and I'm going to put it right side to right side. So you see where that little gray line is right there? That's what we're following. So I'm going to start on this side, and you're just going to kind of have to maneuver her to be in the place that she's supposed to be in. And we're just going to, again, base stitch these in place. So I had to put my needle down quite a bit to get her to kind of get around that corner. So just take your time doing that. Alright, so now the left leg is going to go, can you see it? The left leg, ignore this one flapping at you. The left leg here is going to go just like that, but right sides together. Okay, your legs should look like that. Look how cute that is. It's so cute. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the wings. I'm going to cut those out real quick, and then we'll work on those. Alright, so I went and cut out our wings. You've got the inner wings and you got the outer wings. we're going to put right sides together, just like we've been doing everything else. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew 1/4 inch. We're leaving this straight line open so that we can turn it inside out. I went ahead and sewed again, like I told you guys I have been doing. And in the instructions, she wants you to kind of cut these down and pretty close to where your stitches are so that they'll turn inside out correctly and you won't have too much of a problem. But I went ahead and clipped the edges where it kind of is sharp, like a sharp edge. And then this edge right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn this inside out. And then you are going to have some stitching to do on the wings because you are going to stuff certain part of the wings, and it really looks cute. So let me get this inside out and then I'll show you guys where you need to sew. So you see where this white line and the rainbow kind of meet up? You're going to want to stitch along that line, and then you see these blue lines? You're also going to want to stitch down those. Now, you don't want to start up here and do the blue stitches. We need this canal so that we can put some stuffing in just that part. So I'm going to go ahead and do the blue lines first. I think that'll be a little easier to do first. Alright, so it should look like that, even though I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to go clean up all of my threads, and then we'll go ahead and I'll do the other one off camera, and then I'll show you how you can stuff this little part. Alright, so I have a feeling this part isn't going to be like a ton of fun. So, we're going to do a little tiny bit of stuffing at a time. And we're going to start on this side where the opening is. And you're just going to start with a little bit of stuffing and using your tool to kind of shove it in there. And then you're going to have to work this from all the way up front to all the way down the other side. I didn't think that this would be much fun, but we're gonna work it out. So just don't get frustrated, just do a little bit at a time. Alright, that took way longer than it probably should have. But one thing I would say is definitely start out with like smaller bits of stuffing, because this is such a tiny canal to get everything through. Just take small bits and take your time, because I think it really does need it. Once it's attached to the body, I think it's really going to show up. So I think it needs it. It's just really tiny. Alright, we're going to grab the body. And then with the, how you tell the wings apart is you're going to want to put it like this so that you see the back side of the wing. When you sew it and attach the body, it'll go out like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to base stitch both of these down. Alright, let me go get the next piece that we're going to be working on. Alright, so the next part we're going to do is the head with the body. I'm going to push the head wrong sides out again, and then we're going to have to kind of match everything up. There's a divot, kind of a divot in there, so you're going to need to kind of, it goes in a U. So it's going to have to be kind of maneuvered and wrangled until you can get it all lined up. And then what you're going to do is a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just sew both pieces together and you have got the front of the dragon all sewn and ready to go. So let me finish clipping this and then I'll sew it and then we'll get right to it. She looks so cute. Okay. I am gonna stop right here and go feed my children, and then I'm gonna pick this back up. Alright, so we've got her whole body done, or her front of her body done. And now we're going to be working on the back of her head. So we're going to need a couple of things to get this going. First, you're going to need to grab the head pieces. So you've got the back of the head, the upper half, and the lower half. You'll see that there are zipper guides marked on your head. In the instructions, she took the zipper tape and measured it against the lining pieces. So I made my zipper tape as long as the lining. You are also going to need, your zipper tape, and then a zipper. And then another piece, you've got your little zipper tabs. You need to cut those out and get those ready. I'm going to go ahead and put my zipper on my zipper tape. I have already burnt the ends of my zipper, so make sure if you're using a nylon zipper that you've burnt the ends. Alright, so I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. What she wants you to do is take the right side of your zipper tab and put it to the right side of your zipper, and then 1/4 inch you're just going to sew along that. So I'm going to go do that for both of my ends. So right sides to right side. Go sew those on. Alright, so I have got my zipper tabs on my zipper, like that. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to make sure that my zipper is closing to the left, opening to the right. It's a right-handed people thing. We're just going to do it that way. Alright, we're going to take this to the very bottom of our head. And in the instructions, she tells you to take like a 2-inch piece thing of interfacing. I went ahead and interfaced all of my pieces because I had a bad experience with cotton canvas before. It just kind of unraveled like stupid easily. So I went ahead and I interfaced this so that I wouldn't have that problem again. So you can go ahead and interface all of your pieces, or you can just do the little strip like she says in the directions. It's up to you. I'm going to take my zipper and I'm going to put it right side to right side of her little head, and then I'm just going to clip all the way across. I'm going to base stitch this on because that's what she says to do in the instructions. I think it probably just need to. I could just add the lining, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the instructions. So go base this on at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and extend your stitch length. Alright, now that we've got this base stitched on, I'm going to grab my lining piece, and on the short end we're going to attach it right where the zipper is. So you're putting right side to the wrong side of your zipper. Now you're going to take this to your sewing machine and then go ahead and stitch 1/4 inch all the way across. Alright, so I've got my lining all attached. I went ahead and flipped it over, and then I just kind of finger pressed it. You could go ahead and take it to your ironing board and press that down. It's up to you. In the instructions she tells you to just go ahead and wait until you're completely finished with the next lining. So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the upper part of her head and we're going to match it up, and then go ahead and go back and base stitch this in place so that the zipper won't move when you're trying to add the lining. So I'm going to go do that, and then we will attach the other part of the lining. Okay, so I started base stitching it in at the zipper until I got down this end. I was like, oh yeah. So I went back and I base stitched on this side too. So the whole top part of her head is base stitched in place. That looks so cute. Alright, now we're going to grab our other piece of lining and we're going to put it right sides to the wrong side of the zipper. And now we're going to sew 1/4 inch all the way across, and make sure to move your zipper out of the way when you're sewing, getting pretty close to it so that everything will lay down like it's supposed to. So let's go do that. Alright, so we have got our lining stitched on so that when we flip it this way, all you can see is our outside. And then we need to take this to the ironing board and go ahead and do like we did with the first one and press the lining away from the zipper and make sure that our outside panel, the top of her little head, is pushed away from the zipper as well. So let's go iron that. So I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to work under these conditions, but I got everything pressed and ready to go. The next thing that we're going to do is we need to work with this lining. Now we're going to do this a little bit differently because I want to turn everything through this. In the original pattern, she has you turning it, there's a space. I'm sorry, McGonagall. You're alright. There's a space that she has marked with that little bit of gray. She wanted you to leave that open so that you could turn this whole thing through that. I am going to do it through the lining piece because I just feel like it would be a little easier to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up. If you lay it out flat, they don't line up. One's shorter than the other. You have to pull the bottom of the lining together. And then she's got the directions that you just sew up as far as you can to them, or sew up as far as you can on the lining. And you may have to smush it down just a little bit and sew up as far as you can. But in the directions she has you sewing all the way around, we're going to leave this bottom piece right here wide open so that we can turn it. So we've got the head and the lining piece, the pocket piece, all assembled. The very bottom of my pocket piece is ready to go. It's all open so that I can turn everything inside. Next thing I'm going to do is set this aside, and I'm going to grab my tail pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew them right sides together, and then we have to do, I love how she put these on here for us and we don't have to guess. But after you sew it inside out and turn it right side out, you are going to sew these little extras right here, and it really does, like, just like the wings to make it kind of poof out, that really does give it an extra look. So I'm ready to get this done so I can show you guys. It's going to be cute. I went ahead and I sewed around again. I've been doing double stitching, so I've been sewing it once and then going back and sewing it again. Now, where all of the little angles are, there's a lot of them. You're going to need to go in and clip so that these will turn right side out. So all of these little like pokey outy things, just make sure don't get your stitches. I'm going to make a little extra cut there like a triangle just so that will turn it inside out, hopefully a little bit better. Alright, so let's turn it inside out. I think that's going to do. Looks a little janky. And I could have cut a little bit of the extra seam allowance off just to kind of help it lay a little bit flatter. But we're going to stuff this, so I'm not super worried about it. I do have one more in here that I just felt. Okay. On one side of your tail panel, you're going to see these two lines right here. You're going to start here and then just follow this line down to like that little tail fin. And then this one you're going to start here and then just follow the line to that tail fin. These aren't going to be stuffed. They're going to be flat. The rest of this tail is what's going to be stuffed. Alright, so we've got our little line stitched in. The next thing that we need to do is grab some stuffing. And I'm going to put just a little bit in so that I can make sure that it gets into that tail fin. Which I guess is what you would call it. I don't know. I'll have to ask my dragon experts downstairs. They know what it's called. So I'm just stuffing in that point. Just right there on the end. And now I'm just going to start filling it up. Now what we're going to do is I've left myself a little bit of space. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to base stitch this closed, and that way it'll be a little easier to attach it to the back part of the dragon. So let's go do that. Alright, so our tail is all done, and I told you having those little inserts that she's been putting into all the pieces really make the just makes everything kind of stand out on its own, and it looks really, really cool. Alright, the next thing that we're going to need to do before we move on is grab our last set of scales. We're going to put them right sides together, sew around them, turn them inside out, and then we're going to be putting the fin and the scales on the back of the panel. So let's go do that. So we've got the tail and we've got the scales. So the reason why I cut out the pieces the way I did was so that I could kind of keep these instructions with the pieces so that I would know where to put everything. But she has marked it again with the little gray and the seam allowance, because her seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch. This is about a little over 1/8 of an inch. Where to put your stuff, so you can automatically tell, okay, well, this is going to be the scale, this is going to be the tail. So if you wanted to go ahead and just cut out all of your stuff, go for it. You've always got the directions online that you can download, so if you forget the steps or where something's at, they're always there. I went ahead and put my scales on and my tail on, and I'm going to go and base stitch these together really quickly. Alright, so those pieces are nice and basted on. We're going to take the right piece and put it right sides to right side, and then we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch all the way down, connecting everything, making sure hopefully that you've sewn your tail on there close enough that it will be in the seams. So let's go sew that. Alright, so we got all of that put together. There's his little booty, or her little booty. Alright, next thing she wants you to do is she wants you to attach the head and the body. And she wants you to leave this open so that you can turn everything inside through that. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it through our inside zipper pockets. So what I'm going to need to do then is to put this right side to right side, and then it is kind of a curve, so you're going to have to kind of mess around with that. I know a lot of people don't like curves and I hear you, but if you want to get the angles and everything of this stuffed animal, you got to deal with curves. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm going to kind of take my time and make sure all the curves are where they're supposed to be, and then the back of the head and the booty will all be attached. Alright, so our back panel is all done. The next thing that we're going to do is start working on the straps. So I have got two 45-inch straps. Now, I find that 40 is okay for kids. It just depends on you and who you're making this for. You know your kid the best. So I'm going to make them 45, just a little bit bigger just in case. I also need two 3.5. These are my measurements, okay guys? This is what I'm going to do on my bag, just to make it a little bigger, just in case there's a bigger kid that wants this. 3.5 inches for the D-ring straps. I'm also going to use two 1-inch D-rings. I also have a bunch of these plastic strap connectors. I wish I had something like plastic D-rings, but I don't have them in my stash. But I bought these on Amazon because it came with the 1-inch webbing and these, and then also some of the book bag kind of like strap things, the snap together things, you know what I'm talking about. So I like to use these on that. So let's grab our straps, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one strap, I'm going to put it through my strap adjuster, back down again, and I'm going to give myself like 1.5-inch-ish of tail. I'm going to take this to my industrial to do this so I don't have to switch my thread out, and I'm just going to make a box, a little rectangle, little box, so that these two are sewn together. Do that for both of your straps, and then we'll go into the next step. Alright, so I went around and I did just a little rectangle, little square. That's all you need to do, especially when you're working with 1-inch webbing. You really don't need like all the X's and stuff. I normally do that on like the 1.5 inch. It's up to you. make sure that you burn the ends of your webbing. Yeah, it'll come undone. Do both ends. Make sure that you burn the ends of your webbing because that will come back to haunt you. Alright, so I want to grab my little strap, my D-ring connectors. I'm going to place my D-ring inside. I'm going to close it up. And then if you look on the back of your back panel where his little booty is, there's another little gray spot for you. I'm going to take that and I'm going to clip it there, and then I'm going to go baste it at the sewing machine so it'll stay there. And I'm going to do that for both of them. Alright, so take this to the sewing machine and baste them down. Make sure that your zipper pocket is out of the way so you don't accidentally sew anything together that you're not supposed to. So let's go do that. Alright, now we're at the next part. So we've got our strap done. We've got our connectors on our bag. The next thing that we're going to do with the part that kind of folded over our strap adjuster, we can kind of see the end right here. We're going to take this strap and we're going to go straight down like this. Okay? We're going to take that and put it through our D-ring, through the right side, coming out through the left side. We're going to pull, 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 and we're going to keep all of this straight. I have not turned it at all. I'm keeping it all straight. And then I'm going to put the strap back through the strap connector, back down it, and then you've got your adjustable strap. The way she wants you to put it on here is to not just do it just like that. So you've got your strap adjuster like that, like that. Don't do that. What she wants you to do is she wants you to flip it over and then make a little box around that, and I think it's actually pretty cool. You can, so that if you sew it like this, it'll just kind of hang over like that. Instead of just, if you sew it like this, then you'll see all of that. So sewing it on upside down like that is brilliant. So what I'm going to do again is show you before I take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to take it like this, and then I'm going to fold it over. And it should look like this. So you're going to have to either pin it or just kind of like pick it up and take it to the sewing machine. All I'm going to do is just a little square all the way around, and I will take you to the sewing machine this time. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I'm bringing it to my industrial just because I'm lazy and don't want to change out my thread. But you can do this project on your domestic, okay? So just don't be like me. Don't be lazy. Alright, so I've got my strap. I'm going to turn it upside down like that. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So it's not straight on. It's got that little curve. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to make a simple box out of it. Make sure that you hold your thread when you start sewing. That way you can pull it to the back. Make sure that your strap isn't crooked. That it's kind of straight on with the head. Alright, so we've got that attached, and I really like how it kind of flaps over so that you don't have to look at that. Alright, we're going to do it again. So the strap has flapped over our strap adjuster, so the edge I can see right here. I'm going to follow it down, keeping it all nice and straight. I'm going to come down here to my D-ring. I'm going to bring it up, pull it through, keeping everything straight. I'm going to come in and then back down again. Okay, now we're not sewing it straight on. We're not sewing it straight on. We're going to lift this up and fold this over just like we did the first one. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that. By the way, I had my stitches at a 2.5. So whatever you want to do for your stitch length. Alright, so I'm going to take it straight, bend it over. And then I'm just going to make that 1-inch block and holding on to my threads. Alright, so we've got all of our back prepped and ready to go. I've pushed her little face in so that we can put right sides to right sides. We got to turn this inside out and stuff it and you're done. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to start lining up the necks, and I'm just going to kind of clip all the way around her little body. Now there aren't any registration marks anywhere else. You're just going to have to kind of start clipping and hope that everything's right. That's why I kind of started at like her neck, and then just kind of going to work my way around and see what happens. But go ahead and you're going to clip her whole body. You're not going to be including the lining zipper bag. Alright, so we got all sewn around. I don't know why I bother with my domestic. Anyway, alright, the next thing she said to do is right here where the head and the neck come together, you're going to want to make a little notch so that when you turn it inside out, it'll kind of sit like it's supposed to. So I'm going to make a little notch. Be careful, do not cut your threads. Hopefully that's enough. So I've just got my little notch there. Sorry, McGonagall, if I'm punching you in the face. Alright, now we're going to take our baby and put her through here. I can't imagine getting all of this through that tiny little hole in her neck. That's why I'm kind of glad that I did it this way. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to get her out. That's just so cute. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our stuffing. And I am hoping that you can see what I'm doing. I hope so. take for granted learning basic skills and basic sewing things that they needed to know. One of those things is a ladder stitch. If you've never done a ladder stitch before, this is a perfect opportunity for you to go ahead and learn how to do it. I'm really excited about this because I'm really glad that they go together quickly because I have a pile to do. The kids wanted one and they all have to have different colors because it is what it is. And then I wanted to have some extras to sell at the store. So I think they're cute. I've got them in all the colors that I could. Also, let's talk about Enchanted and K&A Custom Fabrics swap shop. There are a lot of people that want to get some fabrics that are from the UK. However, shipping prices are just outrageous for shipping locally right now, much less the UK. So K&A and Enchanted got together and they did a swap shop, and what they did was you go on Enchanted's page, like for someone like me in the US, I go to Enchanted's page and I go ahead and order everything that I wanted to get. A bunch of dragons. And then I don't pay shipping. When the product gets to K&A, they're shipping all of their fabrics to K&A. K&A divides it all up, packs all of the orders, and then ships everything out. They send you an invoice for how much the shipping was going to cost to ship from them, not from the UK. So it actually ends up saving you a ton of money in shipping. So if you want to try that out, I'm sure the swap shop is coming up soon. It's probably towards the end of the year, just depending upon when this video gets to go out. K&A is also carrying the dragons now. They're carrying the rainbow and the blue and the orange. They're carrying a bunch of them. So if you want to purchase some from K&A, you can. If you want to go on Sew's this site, you can. They blow my mind away on how much stuff that they have on their site. Go check them out because there's so many plushies. If you're a person that likes to sew plushies, they have got a ton of stuff. So go check them out. Make sure that you purchase a bunch of stuff. If you want to go through K&A's, you can go through K&A's. They're going to be carrying, right now we're going to start with the dragons, and then eventually they'll probably get some more plushies as we go along because we want to have lots of sew-alongs. Anyway, that was a long outro. So, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe and see if we get any more plushies in anytime soon, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Or, if you have any questions, comments, something wasn't quite clear, I will do my best to clear it up. If you also use a smaller zipper and still have problems, go to their site, ask them questions, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what's going on. Anyway, thanks for joining us again on Faith Works Designs. Bye, guys.